Myths of the Mundas, Part 2. Ebony Blade History. To anyone reading this, beware this blade. It has corrupted and perverted the desires of great men and women, yet its power is without equal. To kill while your victim smiles at you, only a daedra most foul could have concocted such a malevolent, twisted weapon. It appears to all who wield it end up with the crazed eyes of those wild men who roam the hills, chattering with weapons. It is not to be trifled with, not even the hottest fires of the Skyforge could melt it. Indeed, the coals themselves seemed to cool when it was placed within. We cannot destroy it, and we would not have it fall into the hands of our enemies. So, we keep it hidden, never to be used. Woe be to any who choose to take it. Noxiphilic Sanguivoria. An Introduction. By Sinner Scholastus. The disease vampirism is not one disease, but many. Throughout the centuries, and for unknown reasons, the afflictions collectively known as vampirism have been transmitted in different ways, and taken on different qualities. Herein I shall try to delineate, to the best of my ability, the qualities of the form of vampirism common to our era, known as Noxiphilic Sanguivoria, so as better to equip the reader to identify this type of vampire. First, however, I believe a word of warning is in order. This work is in no way intended as a guide to hunting or otherwise confronting a vampire. In all cases, it is advised that you should avoid anyone you suspect of vampirism, and certainly that you do not try to fight them. Vampires of all varieties possess supernatural strength and will quickly overpower all but the most experienced hunter. The most important thing to remember about the sufferers of Noxiphilic Sanguivoria is that, as the name implies, they are not weakened by daylight as in the other strains of vampirism, but are instead strengthened during the nighttime hours. Why this is the case is poorly understood. One of the more wild theories is it is the result of some sort of daedric backroom deal between Hircine and Malibal that has given the sufferers of Noxiphilic Sanguivoria a werewolf-like love of moonlight. By night, these hunters are possessed of extreme fortitude and a powerful ability to recover from wounds. Sufferers of Noxiphilic Sanguivoria, interviewed under heavy sedation, of course, have described the dreamlike passage from when they were first bitten and afflicted with the disease. Some of them have described entering a ritual chamber where they were bathed in a pool of black blood. Whether the transformation actually involves such a terrifying ritual, or whether it was merely a hallucination, is impossible to discern without first-hand experience. If you are bitten or believed to have been bitten by a carrier of Noxiphilic Sanguivoria, do not panic. If you are able to get away from your attacker, see a priest of Arche immediately. You will not contract a full Noxiphilic Sanguivoria without first being extenuated by a vampire, and then receiving the gift of his or her blood in return. Ruminations on the Elder Scrolls. By Septimus Sigius, College of Winterhold. Imagine living beneath the waves, with a strong-sided blessing of most excellent fabric. Holding the fabric over your gills, you would bring in to breathe, drink its warp and weft. Though the plant matter fibers imbue your soul, the wretched plankton would pollute the cloth until it stank to the heavens of prophecy. This is one manner in which the scrolls first came to pass, but we are the sea, or the breather, or the fabric, or are we the breath itself? Can we flow through the scrolls as knowledge flows through, being the water, or are we stuck in the morass of sea filth that gathers on the edge? Imagine, again, this time, but different, a bird, cresting the wind, is lifted by a gust and drowned by a stone, but the stone can come down from above if the bird is upside down. Where then did the gust come from, and which direction? Did the gods send either, or has the bird decreed their presence by her own mind-making? The all sight of the scrolls makes a turning of the mind such that the relative positions are absolute in their primacy. I ask you again to imagine, for me, this time you are beneath the ground, a tiny acorn planted by some well-meaning elf maiden of the woodlands for her pleasure. You wish to grow, but fear what you may become, so you push off the water, the dirt, the sun to stay in your hole. But it is in this very pushing that you become a tree, in spite of yourself. How did that happen? The acorn is a kind of tree egg in this instance, and the knowledge is the water and the sun. We are the chicken inside the egg, but also the dirt. The knowledge from the scrolls is what we push against to become full-sighted ourselves. One final imagining before your mind closes from the shock of ever knowing. You are now a flame, burning bright within a vast emptiness. In time you see your brothers and sisters burning in their own and distant along your side. Sea of pinpoints, a constellation of memories, each burns bright, then flickers, then two more take its place, but not forever, lest the void fill with rancid light that sucks the thought. Each of our minds is actually the emptiness, and the linings of the scrolls are the pinpoints. Without their stabbing light, my consciousness would be a vast nothingness. Unknowing its emptiness is void, is unknowing of itself. But the burnings are dangerous, and must be carefully tended and minded, and brought to themselves and spread to their siblings. Note by Ancestor Moth, Brother Quintus Novellis found this at the back of the library stacks behind the Skull of Ruin. It had obviously been there a long time, yet the printer's sigil notes his publication date as 4E195. This is obviously a transcription error, I think. Sithers is the start of the house. Before him was nothing but the foolish Ultima. Have names for and revere this nothing. That is because they are lazy slaves. Indeed, from the sermons, stasis merely asks for itself, which is nothing. Sithis sundered the nothing and mutated the paths, fashioning from them a myriad of possibilities. These ideas ebbed and flowed and faded away, and this is how it should have been. One idea, however, became jealous and did not want to die. Like the stasis, he wanted to make it last, and this was the demon, Anuiel, who made friends, and they called themselves the Aedra. They enslaved everything that Sithis had made, and created realms of everlasting imperfection. Thus are the Aedra the false gods, that is, illusion. So Sithis begat Lorcan, and sent him in to destroy the universe. Lorcan, unstable mutant. Lorcan found the Aedric weakness. While each rebel was, by their nature, immeasurable, they were, through jealousy and vanity, also separate from each other. They were also unwilling to go back to nothing of before. So, while they ruled their false dominions, Lorcan filled the void with a myriad of new ideas. These ideas were legion. Soon it seemed that Lorcan had the dominion of his own, with slaves and everlasting imperfections, and he seemed for all the world like an Aedra. Thus did he present himself as such to the demon Anuiel and the great givers, as a friend. Go unto the Shamat Dagoth as friend. I, Homea Mora Altadun Pad Home, Lorcan AI. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.